that how can first responders structure their business so they minimize the risk of their primary income while maximizing that long-term growth potential?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the smart way to do it is, as we were kind of talking about before, you set up a separate business entity, typically an LLC. That provides you legal protection. So if something was to happen in the business, they don't, can't come after you and your personal assets, personal savings, personal home, vehicles. And it also creates a structure that then starts to build up its own credit and its own track record, which makes, again, borrowing easier. So I would recommend for just about anybody getting started in a business to set up a separate legal entity, an LLC, most commonly, and then run all the business activity under that umbrella for both the legal protection, but also the tax benefits, and then also to, enable that entity to build up its own track record and credit profile and make borrowing and everything else down the road easier. And then finally, when you get to the point where, you might decide it's time to sell that business, you can separately sell that legal entity. It has its own tax returns, its own books and records. So the buyer doesn't have to look into your personal stuff. You haven't commingled it with your personal earnings, your personal tax records. Everything is kept separate. So the buyer only needs to look at and view, whatever pertains to the business, nothing to do with you. And when they finally buy it, you walk away with a nice payday and move on to the next one.
Let's say the business, a bomb goes off and the business doesn't do well, and now you got to get rid of it. You can bankrupt the business, correct? So
Yes.
now I'm not on the hook. Like the business bankrupts, it's done. Obviously, if I have any personal debt that I had in that, I still owe that. But like the business itself holds the hook. And then the big one is that it's a sellable asset. I've now created the separate entity. It's like when I go to purchase a home or a rental property. That's its now own structure. It itself is an asset. I get renters in there. That's the income. And then guess what? That house, that home, that rental property can be sold later for a profit, much like, right, that LLC business is that house.
Again, that's the beautiful thing about owning a business is not only does it pay you, once it's profitable, right? It's paying you for operating it, but the business itself has value and you can sell that, right? Good luck trying to sell your W-2 job, right? You're not gonna be able to do that. The minute you stop working, they stop paying you. That's kind of the agreement you have as an employee, right? I'll show up to work, you pay me. I don't show up to work, you stop paying me. But the business itself has value aside from what it pays you, where it can also be sold and you get essentially a second payday. The value you've built up in the business pays you again. So it's not just the cash you take out today, but the long-term value is also building up as you build the business and gives you a second payday when you go to sell it.